Hey guys, what's going on? James here. And before we start this video, I want to say thank you to Daniel Wazotsky for becoming a new member here on the channel. He now holds the rank of Team Rookie. If you guys are also interested in becoming a member here on the channel, blue join button next to the subscribe button. Also, check the comment section down below as well as the top of the description for a link to also see about becoming a member. But in this video today, we are going to be talking about players that we all should be keeping an eye on in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 11 matchup versus the Los Angeles Rams. So let's get started talking about the first player that we should all be keeping an eye on, which is going to be Jason Pierre-Paul. I mentioned this in the previous video of the matchups to watch, but Jason Pierre-Paul is going to be going up against a backup left tackle now that Andrew Whitworth, the star left tackle for that offensive line for that Rams team, is now on the injured reserve. So Jason Pierre-Paul will be going now up against some backup left tackle. I'm not sure who that player is going to be, but they will be a backup regardless. And Pierre-Paul, he has 7.5 sacks on the year right now, which does lead the team, and he's been doing a pretty good job. He is playing in the same spot that Shaq Barrett played in last year, where he got 19.5 sacks, and overall JPP has been pretty darn productive. I think he's on pace right now to finish the year with double-digit sacks. I think 12 is what he's on pace to finish with right now, which is good. He's going to be under contract for the next couple of years here for the Buccaneers as well, so it's good to see him still produce, even though he's a little bit getting up there in age. But keep an eye on him because he arguably has one of the most vulnerable matchups in this Rams offense now that Whitworth is not going to be there. So I expect him to do some pretty good things, both in the running game and especially in pass rushing as well, because a savvy veteran like Pierre-Paul, who is able to make a ton of different types of plays and has a ton of different abilities. He just got a freaking interception last week, for goodness sake. I think that he could really thrive going up against a backup offensive lineman. So pay attention to Jason Pierre-Paul. Let's see how he does now that he is going to be going up against a backup. The next player worth mentioning is going to be Antoine Winfield Jr., who my friend Billy has dubbed A&W, which I absolutely love. I think that is a phenomenal nickname, so shout out to you, Billy. Go check out his YouTube channel. But I do want to say that Antoine Winfield Jr. has continued to be doing some great things for this Buccaneers defense. He has been a blitzer, he has been a run stopper, he has been a coverage safety. He's done everything you want a good safety to do in a good defense. He's been all over the place. Now, the reason I have him on this list is because he has been somewhat quiet the past game or two, and I will admit he has had maybe a couple of games here or there where he has been a little bit quiet. The most recent example was the past couple of weeks. Maybe not so much last week, but he was definitely quiet in the Saints game, which makes sense. Freaking everybody was quiet, but I do expect Winfield Jr. to bounce back here. I'm still waiting for him to, really just put his solidified stamp on that Defensive Rookie of the Year campaign. I think that he is almost there. He just needs maybe another takeaway or two. If he finishes the year with, say, 3 interceptions, maybe a 4th interception, I think he's got the award locked down, especially considering how good the Buccaneers have been doing so far this year. The good teams always win awards like that for the most part. So if Winfield Jr. can just get another takeaway, maybe a forced fumble, maybe an interception, just a couple of more takeaways, and I think he will pretty much have that Defensive Rookie of the Year award locked down. So let's keep on watching him progress and just continue to grow to be one of the better younger safeties in the NFL. It's been a lot of fun to watch so far this year. The next player that I'm going to mention is going to be center Ryan Jensen, and I guess you can count Alex Cappa as well, because they're going to have the responsibility of defending Aaron Donald, or I guess I should say blocking Aaron Donald, which is arguably one of the hardest things to do in the entire NFL. Now, I saw some people be critical of my praise that I was giving for this Rams team, and I do like, highlighting players on the opposite team when they are very good. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that it's giving you guys a fair, unbiased opinion of what the other team is bringing to the table. I think that it is setting expectations appropriately. And it is a fact, Aaron Donald is the best defensive lineman, arguably the best defensive player in the entire NFL. That is literally basically undisputed. I mean, maybe you could throw around some names like Khalil Mack or somebody else, but for my money, it's Aaron Donald. And Ryan Jensen and Alex Cappa are going to have the responsibility of blocking this bulldozer of a human being. And I love Ryan Jensen. I think that Ryan Jensen is at least a top 10 center in the NFL. He proved that last year, and he is continuing to do a very great job this year in not just playing center, but also showing his versatility in playing guard as well. He's had a great season. So I'm going to be very interested to see how that matchup goes. Ryan Jensen, one of the better centers in the NFL. Aaron Donald, one of the better defensive players in the entire NFL. Let's just see these two just bulldozers go head-to-head against each other, and let's see what happens. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think, because Aaron Donald doesn't mess around, but you guys know that Jensen doesn't mess around either, so that should be a fun matchup to watch. The second to last player that I am going to have us all keeping an eye on is going to be Mike Evans, who I believe had 11 targets last week, which is good. A lot of people were criticizing, myself included, that Mike Evans was not getting enough targets in the passing game. Tom Brady had said, I believe, that he wanted to get Mike Evans the ball more. Bruce Arians has been saying he wants to get Mike Evans the ball more for weeks and weeks now, and I think Brady is finally getting more comfortable with Mike Evans, finally throwing up some more of those 50-50 balls and putting that trust in Mike Evans, which is not always a bad thing, throwing up 50-50 balls, okay? That is not always a terrible thing. It's the NFL. There are times when, the 50-50 ball is really your only option. This isn't Madden where guys can get open super easily. Sorry, rant over. But the point is that Mike Evans finally started to get some things going last week. I think that he will continue to get some things going this week as well, depending on what the Rams do with Jalen Ramsey. I did mention this in the previous video, but I don't know if they are going to have Jalen Ramsey shadow Mike Evans. Would he shadow Antonio Brown? Would he shadow Chris Godwin? I don't know, or would he just basically blanket cover one side of the field? It's really unsure right now, but I do think that regardless, Mike Evans can still have a productive day if you do use him well and move him around, if Jalen Ramsey is not shadowing Mike Evans, which is entirely possible. The Buccaneers have a very deep wide receiver core. Chris Godwin should hopefully be getting healthier from his fractured finger, and Antonio Brown is a very good wide receiver in his own right. Again, this is one of the top trios, if not the top trio, in my opinion it probably is, of wide receivers in the entire NFL. And you also factor in a guy like Scotty Miller, there's a ton of weapons just on that wide receiver core alone. So I really think that Mike Evans will have his chances to make some plays, especially in the red zone. I'm very excited to see how he does, and let's hope that he can continue his success that he had recently versus the Panthers, not just in terms of receptions and yardage and, things like that, but targets as well. Let's hope the targets stay up so we can get Mike Evans more involved in the passing game, because things pretty much always go good when Mike Evans is involved more in the passing game. So keep an eye on that. Finally, guys, the last thing I want to mention here in terms of players that we need to keep an eye on in this upcoming game, and I'm cheating a little bit, it is going to be the coaching staff. Bruce Arians, Todd Bowles, Byron Leftwich. I'm going to be paying attention to all of these guys because I've seen, the talk in the comments section. You guys have been very vocal about this, how you don't feel super confident going into this game, and one of the main reasons as to why is because of the fact that Sean McVay and their coaching staff is very, very innovative, and it's not a ton of confidence in, just the Buccaneers' ability to win this game. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of pedal the brakes back on that a little bit. I feel confident going into this game that the Buccaneers can get a win. I think that they can win against any team in the NFL. I always hold that belief. And I do think that these coaching staffs match up pretty well against each other. It's going to be very interesting to see what Byron Leftwich schemes up, what Bruce Arians schemes up, and we all know what Todd Bowles does. He blitzes like a madman. So this should be very, very interesting. I'm going to be curious to see how this coaching staff does versus the very unique, very innovative Rams coaching staff that they have going on over there. And I think that the Buccaneers offense and defense will be fine. I don't think they're going to get absolutely outclassed like we've seen in a couple of games this season. I think it's going to be a very close game and a very fun game at that. And I think we are going to see some good play calling from both the offense and the defense. And overall, I don't think this will be anywhere close to some of the games the Bucs have had this year where they were completely beaten down in terms of the coaching staff and game plans and things like that. I don't think that will be the case. We did see this coaching staff, same exact coaching staff on both sides pretty much, go up against each other last year, and it was an incredible back and forth game where both the offense and defense made plays on both sides for both teams. So I expect a very similar game, especially now considering all the talent that both these teams have respectively. So yeah, it's going to be just one interesting matchup, and I would not even say anywhere close that this game is going to be just a complete wash or anything like that. I think that might be a little bit of an overreaction. But guys, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts about all the players and, coaching staff that I mentioned down in the comment section below. And what are some other players that you guys are going to be keeping an eye on? Please let me know. But guys, I will see you in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.